on it, it was better, right? You could
Probably
have an
is,
extra
but let's.
thing.
Oh, might be the microphone right there.
Is
So
it?
yeah,
Let me
maybe
see.
it's okay. We'll learn something.
All right. Well, we're just talking today. Oh, I guess there's the cam. Where's the camera? The camera.
See that green light?
It's a green light and everything. How cute. All right, I gotta talk to my green light. I'm talking to you, my people, my audience. Send us money. That's what people. We're trying to monetize.
You can't do that. You can't monetize YouTube.
Why not? That's what he's doing. He's monetized.
Okay, that's not how it works. Okay, did you know? Well, I'll explain to you how it works.
What? You have to have a lot of people.
Let me explain to you how it works. Do you want to hear this?
Okay, yeah.
Or not?
Yes.
You can always create a Patreon account, and you can tell people, go to my Patreon account and send me money. You can always do that. It's monetizing your YouTube.
Right.
If you want YouTube to monetize your YouTube, then there are requirements. You have to have 1,000 subscribers.
Okay.
And you have to have 4,000 hours of views on your videos.
Oh, 4,000 hours of other people viewing. Not that we've produced, not me producing 4,000, us producing for them, but actually people viewing 4,000 hours. Mm-hmm. And that would be 1,000 viewers. So we need viewers. Okay, so don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe.
And you need viewers.
Subscribe. Okay, we need viewers and subscribe and like. I guess liking or something does something.
The liking just encourages the algorithm to push your stuff out to more people.
I see. All right. Anyway, well, because we, feel like, what are we talking about? Doing this? Well, why we're doing it is that we have a solution. We're going to save the world. The solution is.
You always say that.
Okay. Is to do as we do. And what we're doing is we are living almost waste-free. We live fossil fuel-free, almost. So those are things that we need to work on doing.
Could you explain what those things mean? Because no one understands what those mean.
Well, zero waste is like when you have no garbage.
No one understands what that means.
Out to the garbage can, It's everything.
It means that we put our garbage cans out once a month.
Maybe.
And it's at best half full when we do.
Yeah.
Okay? We don't have a waste stream.
We don't have a waste stream, yeah.
There's very little waste that leaves the property.
Actually, the only waste that we've had is from the cans that we used to buy. And now...
What cans?
Well, we've had cans in history. Historically, we've had cans of food. So like we had, canned food. And so now that's part of our waste stream. But actually, I've taken that out of the waste stream because I'm really trying to I'm going to put a hole in the bottom and use those as planters because it's really beautiful metal.
Okay, so
that's okay. That's
to say.
Yeah.
That we do buy canned foods. We eat them.
And
then we're stuck with the can.
Right.
However, we repurpose the can.
Repurpose it.
Rather than the can going in the garbage or the recycling to become part of our waste stream.
Yeah.
We keep the can and we repurpose it and we use it for what?
A planter to grow some herbs.
Grow plants.
Yeah.
As a
herbs. Yeah.
Planter. Okay.
Right. Yeah. And so
that's one of the ways you reduce your waste stream.
Mm-hmm.
It's called
upcycling.
Upcycling.
Yeah.
Recycling is still part of your waste stream. And you can say, oh, I recycle, so my waste stream is fine. Well, as we're finding out now, 100% of those recycled wastes went overseas. And we're learning that nearly 100%, essentially 100% of those recycled materials, so-called recycling, are not being recycled at all. Mm-hmm. They're just being stored. Once in a while, someone finds a use for them, but for the most part, they're not. The one exception, I think, is cardboard. Cardboard is easy to recycle. It's just paper pulp, and it goes into the exact same paper pulp process as virgin pulp from trees. And it just gets mixed in with all the rest, and they just reuse it. Okay? Right. So paper pulp can be reused and frequently is.
But we have to recall,
especially when it's free.
But we have to realize the whole, looking at the whole waste stream, we have a diesel truck or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 that come to our neighborhood to pick up all of our waste.
Yeah, part of your waste stream, even if you're recycling, is the truck that comes to the front of your house to pick up your recycling, and the cargo ship that ships your recycling to Indonesia and whatever they're doing with it there, including dumping it right into the ocean. Who knows what they're doing with it? Your recycling has has a waste trail of its own.
Yeah.
Its own waste trail.
Right.
But when you put your recycling out on the curb, it then becomes this whole
pathway
of
what I was
waste.
saying, and that's good, thank you. But it was also looking at, currently our waste stream has been cans because I've had cans in my cupboard. But my goal is not to have any cans in my cupboard, and there will all be jars in my cupboard that I will reuse. There will not be any metal cans that will need to be even upcycled. Because
how do you do that?
And the way I've been
does this
doing
mean that you buy things in jars instead of cans?
No,
what are you talking about?
Well, that's one way. But what I want to do is buy stuff from the farmer's market or ideally grow all my stuff and can it. And so that's and even make things myself.
Okay,
so
what is canning?
So for yesterday I made some.
What is canning?
Let me just say, canning is to preserve, to shelf. Preserve your food for longevity, for more longevity. And so you take your tomatoes and you make tomato paste or tomato sauce, and you can it yourself versus buying cans of tomato sauce or tomato paste. So that's what I want to work on, is learning how to make my own tomato paste, because I made this fabulous barbecue sauce out of tomato paste. And so that's what I'm working towards, is making my own tomato paste. So either I'll buy the tomatoes from the farmer's market and can them by cooking the tomatoes into a recipe, and then heating my jars so that the heated food, there isn't thermal shock between the jars. And then you put the heated jars, you put the hot food into the heated jars, and then you cook it for a certain amount of time in a canner. They call them a canner. It's just boiling them for a certain amount of time. And so we have that to do. And even my canned chickpeas or, any beans, I have a what they call a pressure canner, which is for your non-acidic foods. Anyway, there's two types of canning.
There are two types of cannings. One of them is called water canning, or water bath canning, which is a low level of canning for shelf stability. So you can can acidic foods, which generally simply means like tomato-based foods. And then you have to pressure can, which is another level of exactitude. You can pressure can.
But a higher heat. It's a higher heat, right?
It's higher heat, much
higher. That's what pressure canning does.
And it's
So it removes the bacteria more.
It just kills them.
Yeah.
It's basically pasteurization.
Almost at the level.
You're kind of sterilizing it. I guess it's even ultra pasteurization. So when you buy those little creamers that go in your coffee, you buy them or you get them for free at the coffee station at work, little creamers. Okay, that's cream. And if you know anything about dairy products, you know that milk and cream and similar things don't actually keep very well at room temperature. So why is it that your milk will spoil in a week in the refrigerator, but these little creamers are left outside at air temperature for weeks or even years?
Right.
And the difference between the creamers at the coffee station at work and your milk in your refrigerator is that milk is pasteurized, which is a low level of preservation, and the creamers are ultra pasteurized, which is an extreme level of sterilization. So, when you pressure can, you're ultra pasteurizing your food.
Right.
So and it becomes shelf stable. Mm-hmm. You put a lid on the jar, and when you take it out of that pressure canner, it can go right on the shelf, and it can stay there for a year or longer, and it's fine.
Right.
And that's you making your own canned food. It's not in a can. It's not in a tin can. But it is canned in the sense of it's a process to preserve food. Okay.
Yeah. So, for instance, even today, I realized I had a lot of radishes, and I'm going to. You can pickle. There's other ways of preserving that we have done historically that doesn't involve canning.
Pickling.
It's using, I guess,
pickles,
vinegars,
sauerkraut,
salt,
kimchi
to preserve food. So doing that, and then just looking at the whole waste stream of everything that we're doing, and it takes a lot of preparation and to do things. So like I'm growing things from seed, and therefore I don't have to go to the store to buy starts. I'm making my own plants from seeds. And so it's like really looking at the whole waste stream of how we live. And that's where we have made so many compromises. As women have gone to work, what has that done? What is done is that all the jobs that we have done in our home have become commercialized, outsourced. And we have, created plastic bags that our food comes already chopped, everything like that. So what it is it's that meditation to really, really think about everything that you're doing and not to, what is it called? Externalize externalize it. And that's what we're having to look at as a world, how we have externalized so much of what we do. And I think COVID has been a pause. It's like it's helped us to pause, to say things are going wrong, and and what can we do differently? And so, that's just part of the issues that we're looking at. How we, they're saying that, people aren't wanting to go back to work because they say because they're getting such good unemployment benefits. And some of the Republicans,
I don't think that's the reason,
are saying they're taking away that extra $300 federal dollars. They're taking it away. They're taking it away, meaning they're not even going to give it to the people because they're saying that it's that they want them to get back into the workforce. And I think it's because people are afraid to go back into the workforce.
Okay,
so what do you think?
First of all, let's back up a little bit. People not wanting to go back into the workforce, that's probably too broad a brush. I want to call it what it is. Without having any statistics in front of me, I'm just going to say what I think it is. My opinion. It's women not wanting to go back into the workforce. Okay? One thing we've heard for the last year very consistently is that women who have either been laid off from the work or been allowed to work from home are reconnecting with their families, their children, their elders, their communities, and they're really liking it. Okay,
and they see the benefits that are coming from it. From
benefits
their children,
in particular,
their children
behavior,
their children's
more
behavior.
well adjusted. The homeschooling thing, even though it was a challenge, it brought out the best in their kids. The kids were happier.
Having the mother home.
Yeah, just
even if she was
being
working
with the mom, even if she was working from home and not there constantly for them, just having the mother at home, having her nearby,
if needed, right,
was so soothing to the children.
Exactly.
Now, why would that not be the case? I mean, obviously that's going to be the case. Anybody who doesn't understand that that's the case is delusional.
Right.
Children are pre-programmed to gain the most comfort from their parents, and let's face it, primarily from the mother.
Who they started with, right?
Well, it's not who they started.
Well, that's how they connect.
It's not, okay, there's the bonding of motherhood, right, but there's also just DNA, okay? Children have instincts to be with the mother, okay? That's their instinct. They're little animals. Like little kittens don't need to be taught to be near the mother. The mother's the one with the milk, all right? And they just know that's where they have to be. And no newborn kitten wanders off from the mother and gets lost, and the mother has to beat them up, bring them back, and say, this is where you're supposed to be. No kitten ever has that experience. They're born and they stay right there. Okay? And our children are no different fundamentally. They are born and that's where they stay. And so the notion that the mother's being home is somehow, wow, this was unexpected. The children are thriving. The children are happier. They're more well-adjusted. Wow, who knew? That was never the case, all right? Mm-hmm. What has been the case is for the last 50, maybe 80 years, women have been taught that that's not the case, that the children don't need the mother. And I'm sure that a lot of mothers looked at that and at the time, 60, 80 years ago, looked at that and said, that's nonsense. Of course, children need the mother. Well, that was 80 years ago when women still had female culture and they talked among themselves and they figured things out among themselves with their subculture, right? And it's been 80 years of propaganda, starting with, you have Rosie the Riveter and the vote, and now you have your own cigarette baby and all this stuff that women have been propagandized that you don't need to be You don't need to marry.
Yeah.
You don't need to be a mother. You don't need to be a wife, and you don't need to take care of your children. And your best thing for your children is not breast milk, but formula. Oh, and the best thing for your children is not to be around you at all.
Oh, and then you
The
go.
best thing for your children is to go to school.
And you don't
And
need
the sooner you can get them in daycare, the better.
And
And by the way, now that you don't have children around, you don't need a husband.
Oh well, no. Even to start the whole thing, you don't need a man. We have whatever atomized it to say you just need that sperm.
You need a male. Okay, you need a male.
We just need
male
sperm.
to
We need
conceive,
sperm.
but you don't need a husband and you don't need a partner. You just need sperm.
Right.
Okay,
That's how
And-
we
and,
atomized it to
you
that
need a
level.
male
Yeah.
to deliver, and you can even go get your sperm at a sperm clinic,
Yeah.
right? You don't even need to have physical contact with a man. And so this has been 80 years of propaganda, 80 years of this. So it's no real surprise that when women decided to stay home or had to stay home, they were like shocked and surprised. Wait, my kids are doing so much better. My kid was being bullied at school now, and my kid couldn't concentrate, and my kid was ADHD, and now I find that I'm home. My kid is great. I'm not having any problems with my kid. My kid was never ADHD. What is this? My kid is fine when I'm home. It's like shock and surprised. Why are you shocked and surprised? We have a lot to relearn. And one thing the pandemic allowed us to do is to so-called experiment, but really we're just going back and rediscovering the truth.
Okay, I like that. Let's end it there. We're just going to do little blurbs here because we can get on with our day. But the thing that I was going to say that's going to put into bold relief and to reinforce just what Kat had said, that he looked at the mother. And I'm saying, let's think about what happened yesterday in the news, that a sixth grade girl brought a gun and shot two people in the hallway and one adult outside the classroom. I mean, that in itself, that in the kernel, that is what happened yesterday. Just think about that.
Now, if she was home with her mother, she would not have done that.
Well, is that?
But as soon as she was back in school, and we probably know that school opened the day before. Right?
She went to school with a gun.
She went to
How
school
did that happen?
with a gun and shot some people, or at least, shot into the floor, and the ricochet hurt some people. And okay, that's what a girl did. So, the kids are abreacting. As soon as they're back in school, they're right back to doing what they were doing before.
Right. And an interesting thing that they said, the birth rate is down. Where it's down the most is in teenagers having kids, and so there's that issue that's happening as well. And that has gone down.
Yeah, there's some data.
If
there's some data for you, if you don't mind being data driven, that one of the things that happens in schools is that girls have sex. They're there with the boys. They're unsupervised. These are just teen ghettos, and the girls are having sex.
Yeah.
Why are they having sex? I don't know. Some of them maybe for money, some of them for social approval, some of them just to act out. They're just having sex.
And what we're talking about is
getting pregnant.
Unsupervised. We know the reality is that, and that's I guess just some of the data that is pointing towards the breakdown of what's happened, the breakdown in the family that has happened with our society. And what I think it's really neat that Kat just really pinpointed it as saying that the mothers, not the women, maybe not go. And they say the women haven't gone back.
Yeah, when they see that work, that people are not wanting to return to work, I don't think that has anything to do with the $300 from the federal government. That's probably a lot of money for some people, but it's chump change for anybody who had a job.
People are
before.
making changes in their lives.
I think people are making changes, and I think
That's good.
people so-called making changes are actually women.
And maybe the whole family making adjustments because they've seen the benefits of the mother being home.
Yeah, they've seen the benefits of the mother being. They've rediscovered. I mean, we've been 80 years going down this rabbit hole.
Right.
Women have rediscovered the importance of being with their
their
children
work,
at home.
right? Their most important
Of
job.
their actual work, their
Most
real
important
work,
job.
which is raising their children, being part of the community, being part of a community of mothers, right? And that's the most important work they can do, not only for their own children, but for everyone in the community.
So we'll start there, and basically it's just the School of the Home Arts, and I'm gonna go and do my planting and my pricking up. They call it pricking up, where you take the little basil. And I learned something is that the little basil plants, if they're really grown very tight, like I put so many seeds in one little cell, they don't grow that well. That's I guess part of even humans. If we're too many of us all in one place, we don't grow it. So you need to give them space to really get their full leaves. So I have to break them up and give them more space. So I'm going to do that today. And Kat's going to be working on his plans. And we're trying to create buildings without cement and concrete. That is so much CO2 emissions from that. And so we're working on that. And we'll see you tomorrow, same time.
Sure.
So subscribe. But it's really true.